Great. My name is David Lindeman. I am Director of Grants and Development for the Society for Neuroscience, and I'm also President of Global Grant Solutions, which is my own consulting company. I've been in my current role with the Society for Neuroscience for 3 years, and I've been a consultant for 9 years. I've been in the grants field for about 20 years altogether. So like many people, I came into my current roles through kind of unexpected ways, as I think we often hear from grant professionals. But I started out, I was very interested in international affairs and foreign languages, and I even got a master's in Russian and East European studies. And I started working for nonprofit organizations doing international research and exchange programs between the US and countries around the world. And I was essentially a program officer, and I was responsible for managing those programs. And most of those programs ended up being grant giving programs where I was managing the process for giving out grants for researchers in the US and international researchers to work together. So I actually did that for about 9 years where I was on the program side. And during that process, or during that time, not only was I giving out grants, but I started being asked to help get grants for us to be able to run these very worthwhile and exciting programs. And so that's when I started writing grants for from U.S. government agencies and from private foundations. And I could realize that I really liked the kind of return to writing, which had always been one of my first loves. And so I kind of recasted myself, I guess about I don't know, 12 or 15, 12 years ago or so, to the grants and fundraising side, where I stayed with the same organization, but I switched hats from a program side to a new director role as director of grants and development, and help the organization with our with seeking grants and seeking revenue, primarily from foundations and U.S. government agencies. But then I also started learning more about other types of fundraising and helping to develop individual donation program and other fundraising components. If then I decided that I liked doing all of that so much, but I was interested in doing it for myself, and I decided to make a transition to starting my own consulting company where I focus mostly on grants and helping nonprofit organizations, primarily in health and human services, education, and and economic development to pursue grants. And so I formed my own consulting company in 2013, and I've been running it ever since, and I love it. Um, and I had the opportunity about 3 years ago where one of my clients was re-envisioning their grants and development strategy and program, and asked me to come on board as a staff member, as director of grants and development, to help strategize and lead that new effort. And I'm also really excited to be serving as president of the Grant Professional Certification Institute, or GPCI, this year, and helping to advance the profession on that front as well. At the time that I decided to form my own consulting company and go out as a consultant, I made a decision that I wanted to pursue two credentials, one being the Grant Professional Certified, the GPC credential, and the other being the Certified Fundraising Executive, CFRE. The reason why I decided to pursue two was to be able to show potential clients that I had both types of expertise. I had the broad fundraising expertise that the CFRE reflects, but then I also had the dedicated and close-in expertise on grants that the GPC confers. And so I made the decision to pursue both, and I pursued both in the same several months period. And I've been delighted to be certified by both for the last 9 years. Um, in addition to helping me to show my worth to potential clients, it has helped me to expand my own professional development and education, and and ensure that I'm up to speed on all of the competencies that both credentials cover. Um, but then I would say the one of the nicest things about both credentials is the community that I've become part of, community of GPCs and a community of CFREs, which have become really important professional networks for me, and also very nice personal connections as well. The types of training and continuing education I've done have been primarily um, GPA conferences, including national as well as local conferences, as well as AFP conferences, and as well as local conferences. And what I generally have looked for is I really want to stay on top of my game in terms of what are the new developments in the grants field and the larger fundraising field. And so I particularly attend sessions to make sure I'm on top of that. I've also been trying to build my skills as a speaker in both organizations and conferences. Um, I've also kind of taken it upon myself to kind of learn some of the um, nuts and bolts of running one's own consulting business, for example, with accounting, marketing, and that sort of thing. So I've also looked to some training in that regard. The most exciting thing for me is having impact on change and helping an organization to strategize on its goals for the future. What are the needs that the organization is helping to meet? And then trying to match that with the resources and helping that go somewhere. And as many of us know, much of what we do is driven by relationships and building relationships, um, which take time. And so the exciting thing is seeing those relationships develop, and then hopefully, if I'm still around and so forth, seeing them pay off. I think there's several things that help prepare me for what I'm currently doing. Um, I think I had a wonderful opportunity, number one, to be on the grant giving side first in my career. And so that really helped me see what are grant seekers looking for, what do they need, so that I could be the best grant seeker that I could be, that I can be. And so I think that's actually one real benefit of the grants profession is that you can really be on either side of the coin, grant giver or a grant seeker, and both of those experiences help be a better other experience, if you will. Um, I would say another experience that really helped me be where I am today is just the experience of writing and in high school and in college, and becoming a strong writer that enabled me to be a grant professional that can express ideas clearly to potential funders and help build relationships via writing and via other types of communication with potential funders. And then the third experience that I would say really prepared me for where I am today is continuing education and credentialing, and making a commitment that I wanted to be the best I can be in the competencies of my profession and pursuing that. There's a difference between continuing education and simply taking a course or completing a course or completing a training. Um, but between that and seeking a credential where you're measured on putting that kind of training and experience into practice. And so that's really helped me to be the best grant professional I'd like to be. My advice for grant professionals considering their next step in their grants careers is to take a look at, I guess, both your functional and your subject area, areas of expertise, areas of interest, or areas of development. And by that, I mean the grants field has an incredible amount of flexibility in the sense that functionally you could be a writer, a researcher, a developer, a reporter. And so I encourage grant professionals to think about, which functional areas um, would they like to pursue, or where there might be opportunities to move from a writer to a researcher, or from a researcher to a writer, or to have some other combination. I also encourage grant professionals to think about, subject areas that they're working in. Are they working in health, education, human services, law, other areas, and consider where they may have areas of expertise or where they may have areas where they'd like to learn more. I've often seen grant professionals who continue with a functional role, but in a different organization, moving from a grant writer with an environmental organization to being a grant writer with a international affairs organization to broaden their experience, or perhaps to move into an area that they're really interested in. I think grant professionals can also do the same in a different way, staying within the environmental field, for example, and moving from being a writer to a researcher or some other position in the grants field. So in sum, I just really encourage grant professionals to think about their areas of interest, development, and keep in mind that one of the best benefits, I think, of the grants field is the many hats that you can wear and the flexibility that can give you as a grants professional.